And we are live on YouTube as well. My fearless friends, we're about to start with the wonderful Robbie S Mathews in a few moments, making sure it all looks right. Okay, just I'm going to go a bit here just to make sure that you get to have more screen time because you're the guest here, you're the important one. Wonderful. And Robbie, if that's okay with you, I would love to start the actual recording for Spotify when you're ready.
More than ready. I'm ready with you. Let's make it happen.
Wonderful. Thank you. Just a second, making sure the sound is maximum. Okay. And starting in three, two, one. How does it seem to start transforming your financial DNA? Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 32, Transform Your Financial DNA and Live Wealthy. Secrets to Breaking Bad Spending Habits with the wonderful Robbie S. Mathews. Now, when I say financial DNA, I'm already excited, so I'm only going to do a very short introduction for our wonderful guest today that is going to teach us a bit more about how to break our bad spending habits. Robbie S. Mathews is a successful award-winning global entrepreneur, financial transformation strategist, executive producer and TV show host, empowering international speaker and author. Robbie is the co founder and president of the Mathews Entrepreneur Group, Inc. in Chicago, Illinois, in the USA, and they specialize in personal and business financial education, coaching, and services. Robbie, you have here this tremendous School of Financial Education. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Roxana, for inviting me to speak to your audience. I am very honored to be here, and I'm ready to share whatever wisdoms and nuggets as it relates to your financial health that you want to hear this way. I'm ready.
Wonderful. And I am admiring how easygoing and kind you are. I'm loving your beautiful energy. And people may be wondering, okay, what's with this wealth? What does wealth really mean, Robbie? And what's your story behind starting such a beautiful, empowering business?
All right, well, thank you for that question. Well, as especially as women, and I'm not excluding men in this conversation. Traditionally, we have our wealth has always been associated either with with our husband or if we have a job, our money has typically has been spent helping the family, right? So the issue of wealth as it relates to women has never really been a priority. As women, we want to survive. We want to make sure we take care of children, we feed them, we take care of families, we take care of communities. But we have to get to the point in life where we are no longer afraid of wealth, being afraid to have money. Depending on the culture that you were raised in, you may have been told, money is evil, or if you have money, people look down on you because they think you're better than them, and so you have all these negative thoughts and beliefs that you have acquired over time. So having money only you have just enough, or you get just enough to make sure you are taken care of. But also, if you do happen to get money, if you're a very successful person, and you do happen to get some money, then what do? You spend it, right? You get rid of it because that those underlying things behind the scenes, it's like, I'm just going to spend. I'm not going to deprive myself. I want to have everything. I deserve it. So you spend the money as opposed to learning how to manage the money and make it to grow and to protect it so that you can leave and generate and create generational wealth, right? We have to get to the point where we're creating generational wealth. But in order to have that process, you have to go through a transformation. You really have to transform how you view money, how you feel about your money, how you think about your money. Because if you just continue treating it the way and handling it the way that you have been, then you're going to stay, it's like that old saying, if you try to change, if you don't change the way you think, nothing will change, right? So you must go through a transformational process and make living wealthy. And I'll explain that a little later, what living wealthy means. You have to get to the point where that's how you live. You live from a financial perspective in the things that you do, the decisions that you make. And that requires, it's hard to get rid of old habits because, we love our old habits, whether they're good or bad. So it's hard to get rid of those. What you can do is replace them with good habits, replace them with new, good, more productive habits. And so that's what we do when we educate our clients. We work with our clients on how do you develop new habits, because it's important to do that. And you asked the question, how did I kind of get into this? Well, I grew up as a teenage mother, right? I grew up in a family of gamblers. So I was always around money. The gamblers, they bet and everything. So I learned early how to spend money very well because I became an entrepreneur early on in life. Now, back then, it wasn't called an entrepreneur, it was called hustling. Hustling for dollars or quarters. And, so as the gamblers would win a big pot, I would come and I would bring them a cigarette or I would bring them, a drink or bring them something. And then they would give me a dollar, give me a quarter, or give me something. And so I learned how to watch the tables. So when I knew who was going to win because, they weren't paying attention to me, right? I'm a kid, right? But I knew how to start reading the cards and reading who was going to win. So I would know what their favorite drink was. I would know when their cigarettes were running out or if they wanted food. So as I anticipated their needs, then they would give me more money. So I had money for candy and, for hot dogs and hamburgers and, I could go shopping with my friends, at the local mall and things like that. So I knew how to spend money. But unfortunately, being in that environment also brought some bad habits as well. You pour the drink, you sample the drink. You light the cigarette, you puff the cigarette. So you learn these habits as you acquire most habits in your life. So then I became a teenage mother. And so by the time I was 18, I had 2 kids and no high school education. I was basically homeless. But I knew deep inside I needed to find a way to take care of my children. I did not want them to have the life that I had or the life that I could continue to have if I did not change who I was and what I wanted in life. So I went about the journey of education. I knew back then education was a big thing. You must be educated. So I got my high school diploma, and then I got what I called a market rent paying job, a real job. Not to say, I could have done this, I could have done a lot of things in the neighborhood that weren't quite legal, but I chose not to go that route. So I got a good job, and through my working and learning and growing, I started working for a financial services institution where I learned financial habits. I learned how to save money because I had to service our clients. I had to help our clients count their money, manage their money, protect their money. I created computer programming systems to accounting systems. I designed them and coded them and created them to help that. So as part of that journey, I had to learn how to account for money. And I was able to use that knowledge and translate that knowledge into my personal life. And as I started doing that, started improving my finances, so my coworkers and family members and friends were like, well, what are you doing? And how come you have all these things, right? And by the time I had gotten married the first time and had more children, and it's like, well, you got a house, you got a nice car, how do you have all of these things? And so I would coach them on financial principles and financial things, just to help people. Not to, I wasn't a coach or anything like that, more of a mentor type person. So as I went through life and I learned how to do these things, and then I finally met my current husband of 25 years, my soulmate, and he had his own, financial journey and issues. He played basketball in Europe, won state championships here in the U.S., and then went on to play in Europe. And so he had money as well. He acquired money, but he spent his money too. So, we didn't grow up, and even still today, our kids aren't being taught financial principles and how to manage their money. So when we married, we decided to work together to improve our finances because we wanted to retire early, and that's a whole nother transformational process, the concept of retirement. We were back, but back then, we were going with what we knew at the time, right? So we wanted to retire early. So we started paying down debt, we started saving and doing all of the traditional things that we should do. And so as his friends and our friends and family were seeing how our lives were improving, nice cars, nice home, nice everything, like, well, you work at a bank and you work, for our Chicago transit system. Why do you have these things? What are you doing? So Michael, my husband Michael, decided to write a book about our financial journey. How do we get to where we were? And so it's titled Financially Speaking. The best improvement starts with self-improvement. Create your own economic stimulus plan. So he wrote the book, and then we started, selling the book to friends and families. We weren't being big best-selling authors or things like that. It was just really to kind of help, make a few dollars, the side hustle, kind of thing, and it worked out pretty well. But as anything, life gets in the way, right? You have to start changing things as the situation changes, your life changes. So we didn't really push or promote the book or anything like that. And then, of course, we had the economic collapse that everyone felt, and this was back in 2008. Everyone felt the economic collapse. But because we understood financial principles, we didn't panic. We didn't sell off. Matter of fact, we bought more. So by the time that the economy recovered, we were pretty much back to where we were before the collapse, right? So these are the things when we talk about the habits and understanding financial principles. It's important that if you know how money works, right, then you can make better financial decisions, and that's what we try to do with our clients. Help them understand how their money works, how to keep more of the money you make, how to grow the money, and how to protect the money, because all those things are important. And so we decided then, after Michael did the traditional retirement from his position at the Chicago Transit Authority, he decided to upgrade the book. And then that's when we decided to turn it more into a business and start going around speaking and teaching financial principles and education, because it was such a needed commodity out there. I mean, people need to understand how to manage their personal finances. And so we turned that into a business, and we started speaking internationally about financial education and developing coaching programs and an online program in order to help facilitate that. But it's I just, whenever I talk to people about their finances, I want to make sure, I give them some kind of tips, some kind of nuggets where they can just start today. It's not complicated. And I think the world has made the word finance complicated. Finance is complicated because it's such a big word, right? But anything, one of our good mentors and business partners, he likes to say, how do you eat an elephant? And his answer is one bite at a time. So if you think about finances, that's a big elephant, right? So how do you tackle your finances? And it's one step at a time. You get the education, you understand it, you learn new habits, and then you implement that into your daily life. So that's the route, and that's the approach we take, and that's how from the little homeless 18-year-old teenage mom that I came to where I am today, and along with my husband in helping teach financial principles.
Wow, Robbie, what a story. You said so many golden nuggets. I wrote down some ideas here, and I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this quote? Let's get emotion out of the money business. Let's keep finances away from anything that's too emotional. We mainly all know that we need to be rational when it comes to money, when it comes to business. However, most of the times we get so attached to money, as you said. We see money in so many ways. We maybe see it even bigger than it is, maybe bigger than an elephant. How would you suggest that we get the emotion out of money and focus more on seeing it as maybe an exchange of energy that we receive for the amount of work that we put in? What's your take on this?
Okay. Well, absolutely, money is energy because it's not exactly about how much money you have, because there are people that make millions and hundreds and thousands and billions of dollars, and they still wind up broke in the traditional sense. You've seen people that win lotteries, right? They win this money and they're happy, and the next thing you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, they're literally destitute and working at Starbucks. Even athletes say so, because the fundamental problem is you are not taught the value of money. You're taught the value of things, right? But not the value that money can bring to your life. Okay. For example, if you had, if you just made, say, $50,000 a year, and you knew exactly, and you said, okay, you want to buy a house, but how do I buy a house? I want to make $50,000 a year. You have to have a goal. So now your money becomes something of value in order to reach the goal. So you have to set a goal. You have to have something that you feel is more valuable to you. Your goal has to be more valuable to you than just spending, right? It's not about what the money can buy, it's what the money can do for you. So buying a house, if you want to give your family a house, which is one of my goals, to buy a house for my children, there was nothing going to stand in my way of buying that house, because that was a goal, that was a value to me. So knew I had to learn how to buy a house. I knew I had to learn how to save the money in order to get the down payment, in order to afford the mortgage, in order to do those things. So I had a goal. So I could not go out and spend it on frivolous things or things of no value, because then I would not get the thing that was of value to me. And oftentimes we don't set a goal. We don't look at what money can do for you in totality, right? So if you want to give to the community, or if you want to, people build houses and hospitals and schools. Those are things that have a generational impact on your life. So you have to look at your money not as immediate gratification, I mean, of course, we all like to, buy shoes, or especially when I love shoes. I'm a shoe addict, recovering shoe addict. I love shoes, right? So, but I had to understand that I can only wear one pair of shoes at a time. So if I wanted, and if I don't pay my mortgage, or I don't pay my car note where I can get to work, and I don't have anywhere to store my shoes. So I had to change my priority in order to ensure that I had a stable place to live, that I could afford where I live. I could live the lifestyle that I wanted to live, but I had to set goals. And that's what doesn't happen, is we're chasing that, what we think is value, right? We want to look good, we want to smell good, we want to look sexy, in our cars, but being sexy and broke is no joke. You have to set goals for things that have a lifelong value to you, so that you can leave that legacy, you can pass things on to the next generation or to your community, to give to your, we tithe, there's a thing about tithing, right? Where you give 10% of your income to the church, which is fine. I believe in, giving back. That's the fundamental. The more you give, the more you receive in return. But tithing takes care of the church, right? It helps the church to continue to grow. Being a philanthropist helps communities and countries to grow, where you're building roads, you're building water facilities, you're building schools where there are none, so that communities can grow. You're getting the homeless off the street. That's philanthropy. Philanthropy requires money, requires you to have enough financial resources to not just take care of yourself, but also to help others. And so, but you have to set that as a goal. And you have to not be afraid of money and being afraid of having the wealth, because wealth affords you the opportunity to spread the wealth. And not just in a dollar and cents perspective, but in a value perspective, because you have to define for yourself, what does wealth mean to you? Right? Some people are comfortable just having enough to take care of their family and go on vacations and go on the trips when they want to live kind of the lifestyle they want to live, give a little bit to the church community, then that's fine. That's your wealth. That's what you define. But some people want to build hospitals. Some people want to build roads. Some people want to start big businesses, and that's okay too. But you have to have a goal. You have to keep the money and stop spending on things that are of no value. So the more money you have, the more value or the more energy you can put out into the world, because that $1 that you give to someone else is going to be used to buy bread. Then the person that got the money for the bread can use that money to buy something else. And so that $1 can go around the world and help hundreds of people from $1. Now imagine hundreds and thousands of dollars that can go around the world to help multiple people. And so but if you spend it on a pair of shoes, it's not really, it's helping the shoemaker, right? But it's not providing that value. And so you have to define your value and your goals and what's important to you. And then use your money to accomplish and acquire those things that are important to you. And I think that's part of the whole transformation process. Not looking at money as an immediate means to an end, but looking at money as the goal, the long-term goal to get you what you want in your life, to give meaning to your life, not just a quick, immediate gratification, immediate satisfaction, which we live in that world of instantaneous. Everything is immediate. You can talk to Google, lock Alexa, Siri, all these, and get boom, 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 get the answers. But once you got the answer, then you forget it because you haven't internalized, because you can just go and do it again, right? Just go and do it again, just go and do it again. So, but what happens if the power goes out? Who are you going to talk to? If your money runs out, what are you going to do, right? So you have to prepare and you have to plan, you have to know and understand how to protect that money, how to make it grow. So it's there for generations and not just for today. You have to live today for tomorrow so that you will have something for tomorrow. Because if you spend it all today, what's going to happen when you wake up the next morning? So you live today for tomorrow. So to help to ensure that. So that's the way I look at it from the energy and the value of money. It's all on your goal. What are your goals? What do you want to leave in this world? What do you want people to say about you when you're not here anymore? What do you want them to say? Oh, she had nice shoes. Or she helped feed the community, right?
I love this, Robbie. So many inspiring bombs, dropping one bomb after the other. I love it. Thank you so much. And I am very grateful that you mentioned the example with the shoes. I like shoes too. Just name a woman that doesn't like shoes. This could be a really good goal. Where do I store my shoes? I need a bigger house. I need a bigger dressing room. So this could help with getting a bigger purpose with your money. Thank you so much for mentioning this. And since you are also a mother, I'm a mother, I wanted to ask you what truly drove you when you were 18 and you were at the beginning of your journey. You already had two children. Was it more than your children that drove you to want more, to do more with your life? Was it also an interior ambition, perseverance? What would you say that was your biggest goal back then? What got you to start changing your life completely?
Well, I think I can say that I've always, back then I didn't know or anything. I always think I had the burning desire to do more. And it's because I pretty much and it's not to say anything bad about my mom. She did what she could, but my mom was focused on other things, right? So I had to really learn how to take care of myself and be self-reliant and self-sufficient as a kid. So that's why one of the things when I used to like lay on the floor because they would rotate houses over the weekend, and I would be at somebody's house and I would be watching TV. Back then they just had black and white TVs. Watching black and white TV and watching while they're in the kitchen or the living room and they were playing cards and gambling. So I was too young to really do anything at that particular point in time. But it's like I got to the point where I don't want to sit here and watch. I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something. So as I got older and I started watching them play cards and understanding and seeing the money, it's like, okay. And so when someone asked me to go, would you go get me a beer out the refrigerator? So when I was old enough to do those things, I'd go get the beer out the refrigerator and then I would bring it to them and they'd give me a quarter. And I was like, so actually I believe that action, me getting money in exchange for my services, helped me understand that this is a good thing. I can use this and I can take this quarter and then I can go and buy me something. So it was the whole ability to be self-sufficient in that sense that I didn't have to ask my mom for stuff. I didn't have to ask anybody for anything. I had my own at that point in time. And so then, like I said, as time went on and I had children, it's like, well, I want to have, good things for them. I want them to have their own home. We never had our own home, our own, our house and, things like that. So it's like, well, I want my kids to have their own. And then, of course, by me watching so much television back then, that's all I could do when I was little, is watching the shows where, the families, they're around the dinner table and, they're eating and they're playing together or they're doing Christmas things together. So it's like, that's kind of what I wanted to have. I wanted to have that. And I wanted to have that for my kids. So I think just my environment and being on my own so much and being self-sufficient I had that desire to have all these things, and I wanted to have these things. So as I had kids, I was determined to do that. It was like my burning desire, having like that burning desire. I had Napoleon Hill, that burning desire. So I had that inside me to have those things for myself. And the fact that I was around money and I knew what money can get for you, I was determined to have as much of it as I could. But I also didn't, I also saw the downside of that, being in the neighborhood and living in the neighborhood I lived in, as well as the things on television. Like I said, TV was my, also learning channel. The cops and the robbers and the crooks and, going to jail. And it's like, I don't want to do anything that's gonna, get me, locked up or anything like that. I wanted to have a home and a yard for my kids to play in and, have the family dinners. I wanted all that. So that's what started as a young age, that self-sufficiency and the desire to have those things in life and make sure my kids have them once I had kids. Like, I've got to get that for them so that they don't have to live the life that I lived. They could have that friends and the family and all of that, which I gave to them. So that's really where it came from.
Love it. You transformed an interesting upbringing because there were very good sides of you growing up as a child around money, learning about gambling, which brings money. So it's you having this interior drive gets me to have this confirmation once again that yes, we are truly driven and focused by what we have inside of us. We need
Exactly.
to go and build inside of us to get to where we want to in the future. And I wanted to ask you, Robbie, can you please share your amazing program with us? Can you please tell us as much as possible about the W.E.A.L.T.H.Y? I think I missed a letter, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I loved our previous Zoom talk about how each letter has a meaning, and I think that our audience and the people watching us on YouTube would love to know more about this tremendous program.
Okay, awesome. Yes. So, as Michael and I was on our journey to get our financial house in order, so to speak, because one thing as a married couple, excuse me, as a married couple, you must plan your finances together and set your goals together. Now, you may have different ways to get to those goals, different paths, but the goal at the end should be the same, because our philosophy is a house divided, especially financially, will eventually fall. So it's important that you work together. So we got together and decided how we were going to manage our finances, what our goals were for our finances. And through that journey, we developed these 7 principles. It's live wealthy, and each of the letters in the word wealthy represent one of our principles. So the W stands for wealth mindset. You have to, this is how you change how you think and act and feel about your money. How do you go through the transformational process? You change your financial DNA, just like your physical DNA determines your hair color and your eye color and all the other things about you. Your financial DNA determines how you keep, grow, and protect your money, how you manage it, how you make informed decisions. But you have to go through a process and understand how did you get to the financial status you are today? What were the driving factors? So I know what my driving factors were and what my driving factors are from the past, what they are for the future. So that's under wealth mindset. And then you have the E, which stands for entrepreneurship, having an entrepreneurial spirit, because you cannot get wealthy, you cannot get wealthy working a 9-to-5 job. Because even if you are a brain surgeon and you make, hundreds and thousands of dollars, if you don't know how to keep, grow, and protect it, it doesn't matter how much money you make. So you need to develop an entrepreneurial spirit, which is the ability to be financially independent. Because in that you can become financially independent in a number of different ways. One, you can become a business owner, or you can learn to invest, which is to grow your money and make your money work for you. But you have to have that entrepreneurial spirit, that financial independence spirit, which most entrepreneurs should go on that journey, right? Because they want to be financially independent. So that's why I call it the entrepreneurial spirit. So everybody doesn't want to run a business or grow a business or have a business, which is okay, but learn how to grow your money then. So that you can become financially independent. The A stands for asset management. So the question is, what is your biggest asset? Most people answer that question on asset. So I'm going to ask you that question, Roxanne. What is your biggest asset?
What a good question. My biggest asset would be my mindset. Is this a good answer?
That's a good answer. It's you. You're your biggest asset because you're the only one that can get you what you want. Other people can give it to you, but if they give it to you, you don't value it. But if you acquire it and get it for yourself, it's more satisfying. Right? So you are your biggest asset. What is your most valuable asset?
My first answer would be my home, but I think it's not the best one, is it?
No.
You caught me.
No, your home technically is not an asset, but we'll talk about that later. It's cash.
Cash, okay.
Cash. With cash, you can acquire the things that help you reach your goal.
Yeah.
So that means you need to keep it, grow it, and protect it. So cash is your most valuable asset.
Love
And
this.
your house is not an asset if you owe a mortgage on it because you don't own it. You might have some equity in it, but at the end of the day, the bank owns your home. So it's not your asset, it's the bank's asset. Until you pay for it. And it's still not an asset, it's a liability because you have to pay the utilities, you have to pay the rent, the taxes, you have to pay insurance, you have to pay maintenance. It's still a liability. So often people think that their home is an asset. Now, if you sell it and get cash, it has become an asset. Or if you are renting a room out or you're renting the house and the house is bringing in income, it's an asset. So those are some of the transformational thinking that you have to go through as part of the financial transformation, right? We think our house is an asset. It's not.
Unless it produces
value, but it's somebody else's value, or you're sharing the value with the bank if you've got equity. But it's still not yours until you sell it, or you can pass it on to the next generation. But you pass it on to the next generation, it's still you're passing on a liability until they can sell it or acquire income, or it generates income for you.
I love it.
So
unless it brings you money, it's not an asset unless it really brings you cash, isn't it? Love this. I have read many books on finances, but you explaining this in 2 minutes got me very clear and the fog lifted off my eyes because it's, as you said, it's such a complex topic, finances, but it doesn't have to. And you know, Robbie, I was thinking a lot when I read your biography and I loved it. All sorts of things got back to my mind since I was around maybe 15 years ago. I finished my formal education. I was very proud. I thought that I had it all figured out. I mean, I'm formally educated, I'm trained. I was a translator back then. I had my master's even. I had this, my ego was pumping. But I had this urge to sometimes buy things that I could not resist it was a bad spending habit. And can you imagine how many people that are formally educated in their fields, in their industries, that have no idea about their financial education? How much mental pain is this causing? And I wish I had met you 15 years ago. Where were you, Robbie?
It's never too long to start. It's never too late to start, right? You can start. Everything can start today. And if we think about, if I think about how much money I spent seriously on shoes alone in my lifetime, if I had invested that money into something, then I still could have had all the shoes that I wanted by using the income from the money that's still there and constantly making income, constantly growing. So the goal is to not have those things, to not to have the shoes, not to have the house or the yacht or whatever, but to have it by having your money work for you, work with you, in addition, other than you always working for your money, right? So if you let the money start doing some of the work, then you can, take the interest payment for 1 month and go out and buy the shoes that you want, or take the vacation that you want, but the money is still there and it's constantly working while you're on vacation. So those, the philosophies and the changing of the thought processes where we're out working, we're hustling, we're making millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we're working our tails off, but we can't seem to get anywhere because it's going out as fast as we're generating it. Right. So at some point you have to stop and say, enough is enough. Let me take all this hard work and this effort from the money that I'm making, put it somewhere where it can grow, generate income, and be safe and generate some income. So then I can take some of the income and acquire some of the things that I feel is of value. So that's part of the managing, managing your asset, the A. How do I manage my cash so that it could bring me more value in that step? So that's where you get to the steps. What do I need to do? How do I get there? Right. So that's W.E.A. Now the L is leave a legacy. So what's the point in doing all this? You can have, if it's just for yourself, then that's fine and good. What if you have children? What are you leaving for your children and your children's children or your community? So your legacy, what does your legacy look like? Like I said, what are they going to say about you when you're no longer here? Some people, it doesn't matter, some people are, I don't care what they say about me, I'm not here. So that's fine. But, to help people, it's just, what we do. And so, not that I, want a statue or anything, built in my honor, because I won't be here to see it. But I do want to be able, I want to make sure that I've helped somebody, that, the legacy that I leave is not just necessarily in material things, but what did I leave inside of you that allow you to thrive when I'm not here? To continue to thrive and to grow. And that's the biggest legacy, the best legacy you can leave anyone. You can leave millions of dollars to your children, but if you haven't left them the principles and the values to help them take that money and pass it forward and help it to grow, then you've done them a disservice. Right? So that's part of the whole legacy. How do you protect the money, your family, and your community? The T is the tithing and philanthropy. So to give back to your community. You can tithe, you can give 10% to help your church, but 10% of, if we make $100,000 a year, 10% is $10,000. I help the church keep the lights on, pay the mortgage, things like that. But if you had $1 million, $100,000 to build a school or send hundreds of kids to school, to college, right? So you think philanthropy as opposed to just the tithing part. You want to give more. H is healthy living. We have to eat well. We have to take care of our bodies. What's the point of being? So the question is, what's more important, your wealth or your health?
You can't enjoy wealth if you don't have health. So it's basically back to your health.
They're equally important, because your health, of course, like I said, if you're sick and sick, then someone else is enjoying your wealth, like the doctors and nurses, and you buying all kind of medicines and pills and all that's going to them. But if you can't afford medical insurance or any kind of things like that, then you want to be able to have the resources to have proper medical care, right? To help, because there's medical miracles out there, right? To help prolong your life. So you need both in order to continue onward, right? You need them both. They're equally important. Getting your physicals, things like that. Eating healthy, eating right. And then you have the why. It's you. At the end of the day, it all boils down to you. What are your goals? What are your values? What are you going to do in order to change your financial destiny? And so those are the things that, so that's the concept of living wealthy, is taking a holistic view of your financial situation, your financial destiny, and the things that you can do, the principles that you can embody, the steps that you can take in order to live a wealthy life, and having wealth defined, have you define what your wealth is. Don't let society define what wealth means to you. You define it, and then you go after that for yourself and for your family, for your community. So that's the philosophy of Live Wealthy.
Wow, Robbie, I'm listening to you. My mind is going wild, getting some new connections here. I'm writing things down. You have just busted some myths about health and wealth. I'm loving this. This is so inspiring, Robbie. I used to think that I need to focus on being healthy, but as you say it now, it makes so much sense, and it's obvious that you need proper finances, because keeping yourself healthy doesn't happen by chance. Rain happens by chance, and that's mainly it. We need to have a very clear purpose with everything, with every part of our life, actually. Oh my goodness,
yes, you have to be
Robbie.
intentional. You have to live your life intentionally. But it starts with you, right? The why. It starts with you. And what are your goals? Because if you set a goal and you have a value, like my goal was to have a house for my kids. And this was before I went on the whole shoe thing. That happened after I could afford to buy shoes, right? My main thing was to buy a house for my kids. And that was my goal, my focus. And I went after that. And so you have to have a goal, because then as you start making those financial decisions, as you're at the store and you're like, okay, ooh, I like that. Whether it's a shoe or purse, or you're in the grocery store. The other thing is your food. If you're in a grocery store and you're buying all these things that you don't really, necessarily need, but you like them, right? You ask yourself the question: if I buy this, is it going to take away from my goal? Is it going to delay me in reaching my goal? And if the answer is yes, then put it back, right? But if you set your goals up for whatever it is you need to save for your or invest, or things are going the way you want it to go, and now you have your excess money that you can use, and it's not taken away from anything that you're marching towards, then yeah, buy it. It's make yourself feel good. It's okay to buy things to make yourself feel good, even if they don't have value. They have a momentary intrinsic value. It makes you feel good and makes you happy, which is fine. But if you bought that now and you're not prepared, or it takes away from something, then you're going to crash, right? Because now you got to pay that bill, and you don't have the money. You bought this and you shouldn't have bought it because, you didn't need it, but you wanted it. We have to separate our needs and our wants. And if we continue to say, ooh, I need that, even though you don't, it becomes a need. And when something becomes a need for you, you're going to go and you have to have it, you have to get it, as opposed to a want. A want is a desire. A need is a requirement. So is it a need or is it a want? Is it required for your survival? Is it required for you to get to your goal? Then you can acquire it. If it's just a desire, then it's something you can acquire later. Not to say you don't get it, but maybe it's just not now. So, I believe in having everything in life you want. I advocate that because I'm that way. I don't like to deprive myself of anything. But, excuse me, but I do it, or I get the things that I want when I can afford them. And afford doesn't mean I want my next check. That's not affording it. Affording means I don't need to depend on my next check. So everything is covered, everything's taken care of. My goals are, what I needed to put in place for my goals this week or this month is there. And now I can go out and buy something that I want. I can treat myself to something that I want. I don't have to say, ooh, I can pay it in my next check. That's not affording. So we tell our things, all these little things to justify what we do. But that's where the transformational process comes in. And how do you think? How you think about your money, how you act with your money, and how you feel about your money are the things that have to change or transform. I like to say transform because change is this. We all change. We do things every day to change, but it's a transformation process. That you think about everything that you do as it relates to your money. And it doesn't become a burden, it just becomes a habit. That subconscious, a subconscious habit, where when you go to the store, you go somewhere, or something comes up, and you think about it, it's like, do I really need that? It becomes like, oh, do I really need it? I do it all the time when I go to the store. And sometimes I even put it in the cart, and I walk around, put it in the cart just to get that feeling. It's like, I don't really need this. I'll put it back, but I'm okay. I feel good. It's like I didn't really need it. Where am I going to put it? What do I need it for, right? So when the things come along that I really do have to have, I really do need it. I'm okay with getting that because I know I'm getting it for a distinct purpose. Whether that purpose is because I need it, or that purpose is because I desire it. And I want it's going to make me feel good. But I'm not going to feel bad because I bought it later. So those are the things you have to look at. Because you're like, oh my God, this is the bill. I have to pay this bill. One little quick story. How I learned about debt. Because I wasn't educated on finances. So I got a job. And this job, this Sears, I don't know, in the U.S., Sears Robot and Company was this big major department store. Everyone loved Sears. And I went to work for Sears as a computer programmer, one of my first big jobs. And I got a credit card from Sears as an employee credit card. Never had a credit card, didn't know or understand credit cards. So I called, I said, well, I called them, like, what is this? They said, what's an employee credit card? I was like, oh, I knew what they were, but I never, had one. So I said, well, what can I buy with it? They said, well, you can buy anything you want. I said, well, how much can I buy? It says unlimited. I was like, unlimited? You mean I could just buy anything I want? It's like, this is unlimited. I'm like, okay, now get this. I have 2 kids. Well, by this time, I think I had 3 kids. I think I was married and divorced. Yes, I was married and divorced by that time. So I had 3 kids. And I had bought the house at that point. So I went on an unlimited credit card buying spree at Sears. My kids are all nice clothes, had to wash and dryer, all this stuff. Oh, it's like chick, chick, slap, chick, ching, 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 ching. But what I didn't conceptualize is I had to pay this all back. And I didn't also understand this thing called interest. Right? So when this bill came out and I opened the bill and I saw everything I had charged and this big interest, it's like the monthly payment that they were requesting was bigger than one paycheck. And I was like, so that was my first experience at what I call debt mismanagement. I had to dig, I was in a hole that I was dug, didn't even know that I had dug the hole and was down in it. And I had to dig my way out of that. That was a painful, very, very, very painful lesson. And as we go through life swiping, right? Swipe, swipe, $20 here, $5 here, $15 here. At the moment you're swiping, it's just, you look at it and it's in that singular, but it's all accumulating onto this big debt hole, right? That you're getting into. So I tell people when you go shopping and you take out your credit card, it's not money and it's not credit, it's debt. So every time you swipe it, it's like, I'm going into $20 worth of debt. I'm going into $50 worth of debt. I'm going into $100 worth of debt. So it's that start changing that's part of the thinking, right? Part of the acting. It's not money. It's not credit. It's debt. Because credit sounds positive, right? Debt is negative. So we don't want to think negatively. We want to think positively. Oh, I can charge it on my credit card. Or I think one of my grandkids like, well, he got money, he got a credit card. And I told, it's like, that's not money, that's debt. You have to pay more back than you spend. Sometimes you have to pay twice as much back than you spend. So those, it's those little things, right, that you have to start thinking about. And as you do this, get ready to do this swipe or chip now, you're like, oh, I don't think I need to get into another $100 worth of debt. I'm gonna put that back.
This is powerful. I have not heard or seen anyone mention this, as well as leaving a legacy. There are many concepts out there about making sure that you leave your children, your family with beautiful memories about yourself. And yeah, indeed, you won't see that big statue. You don't need it. But such healthy spending habits and such a healthy financial education that you are providing today. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I wanted to ask you so many questions, but you have already answered mostly all of them. Thank you for mentioning about this story. Thank you for being so authentic about this, because you learned it the hard way. It wasn't too much fun to dig your way out of a hole you didn't have any idea you have even dug at first. Oh my goodness, this is amazing how you got to conquer this all. And if we're talking about conquering, how would you say that your relationship with fear and finance has evolved through the years?
Well, I mean, of course, as a when I was young and there's of course there was that fear there. It's like, okay, I don't have an education, I don't have a job or really a home, or we stayed at relatives' places and couch surfing, as I think the kids might call it today. But it was nowhere stable, and so there was always that fear of am I going to be able to do this? But when you have a goal and a desire that is unstoppable, then, especially, as a parent, I think because, I don't know if I didn't have kids, maybe it would be different. But I think because I had my kids, I needed to make sure that they were safe and taken care of. And it's like, as a parent, as a mother, you would fight a bear, lift the car off your children, you would do whatever you need to do in order to take care of them. And so I couldn't allow fear. It's like I didn't have any. It's kind of like I didn't have anything to lose. I was fortunate in a way that I never had anyone. Was kind of fortunate, unfortunate. I really never had anyone to give me anything positive, motivational or inspirational. I didn't have role models and things like that. I had family members and people that loved me and cared about me and things like that. But I didn't have the people tearing me down, right? Just telling me I couldn't do this or I wasn't good enough or I didn't have that in my ear, in my psyche. But I did have that unknown, the fear of the unknown, because I didn't know anything. I didn't know what I didn't know, but I had the desire to learn. So I just had to keep my children forefront and what my goal was forefront and do what was necessary to reach that goal. And then, so as time went on, I never feared anything because I always felt I was in control of whatever was going to happen to me. I wasn't dependent on other people to give me things or to, so was I apprehensive? Was I nervous? Was I scared about certain things? Yeah, but I never let that stop me because I knew myself and my children were depending on me. So I had to move forward. I never felt like you as an individual or anyone could stop me from getting what I wanted to get. And that's just how my psyche worked, at the time. So, fear, this thing called fear, which is false evidence appearing real, right? That's what, I've grown up to hear what fear was, that false evidence appearing real. Well, we've changed that now. It's feeling excited and ready. So that's what fear means now, feeling excited and ready. So you turn it around. And so everything in life you can turn around to a positive. You can find something positive in there. And even in fear. Fear could be a good motivator to accomplish your goals. Fear of being homeless, the fear of being hungry, the fear of, now we have the fear of missing out. It's like, well, what are you missing out on? Is it something that's going to bring you value? Otherwise, why do you care about whether you miss it or not? What value is it going to bring to you? And that's how we have to think. What value is it bringing to you? So if it's not bringing you any value, why are you fearful of missing out? And then I've got another fear. It's called fear. I call it for what? The fear of what others think. Who cares? I don't care what others think. Why am I worried about? And this is one of my clients. I tell them all the time. Why are you upset because someone else has a negative opinion of you? Why? Who cares? Is that person feeding you? Is that person giving you shelter? If that person's giving you money, then maybe you need to go get your own money. So you don't have that, right? So we can't let the fear of what others think, fear of missing out, and fear in general stop us from progressing. And the way you do that is you set a goal that is a need in your life. A goal that is not a desire. Oh, one day my goal is to have a yacht. Okay, that's wonderful. But do you need a yacht? How about having a goal of having enough financial resources to have what you want? Now that's something of value. So focus on getting the financial resources, and then you can use those financial resources to get the things that you desire and the things that you want. But if you start out with my goal is a yacht, and you're gonna work and spend all your time and effort to get a yacht, okay? Well, as long as you have a home and you have insurance, you have if you don't want your kids to be educated, if you want to have all those things in place, then go buy your yacht. Cool, absolutely, right? But set a goal. I don't let my clients, when I work with my clients, we don't set 5 and 10 year goals. We set 3, 6, 9, 12-month goals so that you can accomplish something. Move to the next one, accomplish that, move to the next one, and then you start building on those things because you can't, if you make your goals too unrealistic, the likelihood of you realizing them is kind of slim to none. So yeah, you just have to set a goal, a value, something that you need in your life in order to make the next step, the next journey, and then fear will be. You can conquer then that fear because you've got a mission.
Wow. This makes so much sense, Robbie. I'm oh my goodness, it's like financial education, very, very well organized and said so that normal, simple people, as I am, understand it because I do come from a place of so much fear around money. Stories about fear is not coincidental, as I had so much fear to take care of while growing up and as a young adult, trying to find a way to make it my ally at the end of the day. Fear only
Exactly.
is a part of your mission if, as you say, your goal is big enough. Make
Big
it
enough
a
to
need.
overcome. Right.
This
It's
is
big enough to
wonderful.
overcome that fear. You have to have a goal big enough to overcome the fear.
Love
And
it.
and if you're, especially if you're venturing out and you're trying to help someone, you have to understand that what you have and what you give to others is a value. And so, if I was fearful of speaking out, speaking in public, or then I could not share information that could help someone. So I'm depriving someone of being able to have a better outcome in their life because I'm too fearful. But but what am I afraid of? Because once you get to the point where you're not afraid of what others think, and I think that's one of our biggest handicaps of people put these robots, the fear of what other people think stops them from doing the things that they could possibly do in life and the things they can have in life because of what other people think. They think you're better than them. They think you think you're so good or you're not really that good. You're not. I know who they think they know you, right? And so you're allowing other people to live in your head, and they don't even pay rent. So why are they living in your head and they're not paying any rent? Evict them. If you didn't pay your rent, right? You pay your mortgage, they're going to evict you, right? So these people are all in your head and they're not paying you anything. So evict them.
What a metaphor. Oh my God, I'm going to do some evictions today after our
Yes,
talk,
that's
100%.
exactly.
I can't believe how amazing this metaphor is. And I know that you have plenty of them. Can you please tell us, Robbie, how can our audience get in touch with your amazing books, the ones that you and Michael wrote? And how can people get to talk with you? How can they collaborate with you? Can you please tell us? Because I know that everyone listening to us and watching us is very curious to get more of this amazing wisdom.
Okay. Well, the one thing I wanted to share with your audience is that I do have an executive producer and a show host on a new online streaming TV show called Living Wealthy with Robbie. And through that show, I am sharing a lot of these nuggets and the principles, the 7 principles. Each principle has a series. We'll have a series on the show. And you can tune into that show. Join the show. It's called J as in James, D as in dog, number 3, TV.com. That's JD3TV.com. And that is a streaming network. So you just type it into your internet and you can join. The membership as low as $2.95 US dollars. a month. And then there's a $5.95, which you get the movies included with that. And then on this network, we have some of the most powerful coaches and thinkers and educators on there. We've got, we're going to have like Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank fame. We've got, and he's doing a lot of Zig Ziglar education. We've got, we're going to have the people from Think and Grow Rich doing education on there. We have our former First Lady Michelle Obama's documentary, it's on there. We have documentaries for some of our famous sports stars. We have dining divas that's going around the country showing you some of the best restaurants in the world. So there's so much there on relationships and health, and of course my show about your finances that you should tune in, and it's worth it. So if you want to get the free master classes from these oh my goodness, these renowned business people, that's only like $12.97 US a month for that membership. So you can go out there and join jd3t.com and get some of the most wonderful education for pennies. It's an investment. It's not a cost. It's an investment in your growth. So I'm on there. You can reach out to me through my email, which is Robbie, R-O-B-B-I-E-S Mathews at TMEG.com. You can send an email to that, and if you want to schedule a discovery session, then once you send me the email, then I will send you a link to schedule a discovery session, and we'll take it from there. But that's the best way to reach me through my email. Robbie S Mathews with one T in the Mathews .com. I'm sorry, not .com. That's not. Well, actually, go to RobbieSMathews360.com. That's a website. This is one of my little personal website, and you can also schedule a call through that website as well. So probably in the final post, you can put some of those links in there for some, and they can reach it. They can reach me that way. But definitely tune into my TV show. I'm getting ready to start the second series. There's 4 episodes out there now on the wealth mindset. I'm starting on the entrepreneurial spirit mindset. I'm going to do that. I just finished eye surgery, so it kind of threw my timing off. I just got out of eye surgery, and now I can see a little. I'm getting better, and my sight is getting a little better. Even though you are a little blurry, but so as soon as my eyesight clear up and I can read my scripts, see my scripts, I'll start filming again. But there's 4 episodes out there now. You can read them. The first one's more of an introductory about the series, and then the next 3 are about changing how you think, how you act, and how you feel about your money. And so I would encourage you to take a look at those. They're 30-minute episodes, so they're pretty awesome. In terms of our books, you can order our books through Amazon. They actually have a bookstore on our website, TMEGINC.com / bookstore. Yeah, bookstore. So you can go out to our website as well. You can order books, or you can just Google Michael Mathews with 1 T on Amazon, and that bring up. We have 2 books out there. Actually, 2 books out there. Finding Your Moment of Clarity, which is a collaborative book about just from 10 different authors from around the world about how do you find clarity in your life. How do you change your thinking? How do you change your perspective? How is energy? How do you use your energy? Things like that. And then, of course, the financial book, Financially Speaking, is out there as well. Which is more about, it's kind of more of our first attempt at helping and sharing financial knowledge and education with others, and it's a cornerstone of our financial business. So that information is there and it's available, and can have you posted. So when you, so what I can do is in the comments on the YouTube channel comments, I will post those links and things in as well for your viewers, and then if you want on your post, your post, I'm sorry, Facebook. I don't know if you Facebook, Instagram, social media platforms here. Like, or you can just friend me on Facebook. You can also friend me on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. And as I start, now that my eyes are clearing up, I'm going to start posting to those platforms, and you can keep up with what's going on. So all that information will be posted out there. My links will be posted out there where you can click on to get the books as well to my website. So my Robbie S Mathews 360.com has the link to the bookstore, and it has the link to schedule a time with me.
Love it, Robbie. Oh my goodness. This is, and I'm so happy that you're going to be even more visible on social media. I am loving these wise words. I'm going to listen to our talk again after we finish this session. I'm going on YouTube and just taking more notes because this has been tremendous. Robbie, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. This has been mind-blowing. It's my pleasure. What an honor and a privilege. And I'm very excited for our viewers and for the people listening to us, how much value they are getting from you. My fearless friends, check out Robbie's work. You are going to find in the description of this live session on YouTube, on Spotify, on social media. You are going to see a lot about Robbie. Get in touch with her and also download. You are going to see this great link to her wonderful book that she's very generous to offer for free. Download it and enjoy reshaping your financial interior. The transformation of our DNA would be the best thing that we can start with if we want, as Robbie says, live this wealth to be generational, not just enjoying the moment, but why not have it all? Enjoy it and have your best life possible with leaving a legacy behind. Robbie, so inspirational. Thank you so much for joining us and for this wonderful energy of yours. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Roxana. Thank you very much. And hello and goodbye to your audience. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much. And saying goodbye to our YouTube friends. Oh.